even when facing financial, workplace, or client pressure. So this is the way how the engineer could maintain honesty and professionalism when facing pressure from employers or clients. That's all from me.
All right, thank you, sir. So the third question is, can you explain how ethical theories such as utilitarianism influence engineering decision making?
These ethical theories such as utilitarianism influence engineering decision making by providing providing a framework for evaluating the consequences of different actions and choosing the option that produces the great overall benefit for society. This utilitarianism is based on the idea of achieving the greatest good for the greatest number. This means engineers consider how their decision affect the public safety, cost, efficiency, and social welfare. Then when comparing different designs or solutions, an engineer may choose the option that can benefit the majority of users. At the same time, minimizing harm and risk. Example, when an engineer design a bridge, he may recommend using stronger and more durable materials, even if the cost is higher, because it increases long-term safety and reliability for thousands of users. So, the utilitarianism also can remind engineers to carefully weigh the trade-off. A decision that benefit many people should not unfairly neglect smaller groups. Because of that, engineers must balance efficiency and public benefit with fairness, legal responsibilities, and professional ethics. So the professional organizations such as the Board of Engineers Malaysia incorporate these ethical principles into their codes of conduct to guide the engineers in making responsible decisions. As overall, the ethical theories help engineers think beyond technical performance and consider the wider human, social, environmental, and safety consequences of their work. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
sir. So the following question will be asking by my teammates.
okay, Doctor. My question is, have you ever encountered an ethical dilemma in engineering practice or education? And how was it handled?
A common example of an ethical dilemma in engineering involves pressure to approve work that doesn't fully meet safety or quality standards. For example, an engineer working on a construction project may discover that certain materials supplied by a contractor are below the required specification. Replacing them could delay the project and increase costs. So the employer or client may pressure the engineer to overlook the issues. So the ethical way to handle the situation would be to first verify the technical finding carefully through testing and documentation, and then inform the relevant parties professionally and clearly about the risk and non-compliance. After that, recommend corrective action that meet engineering standards and safety requirements. At some point, The engineer should refuse to approve unsafe or non-compliant work if the issue is not resolved. And finally, bring the matter to the higher management or regulatory authorities if necessary. So the approach demonstrates professionalism, integrity, and commitment to public safety, which are core responsibilities emphasized by organizations such as the Board of Engineers Malaysia. Meanwhile, in engineering education, ethical dilemmas can also occur in situations such as plagiarism, falsifying laboratory data, or copying assignment. So these problems are usually handled through academic integrity policies, discussion with lecturers, and disciplinary procedure, while emphasizing the importance of honesty and accountability in future professional practice. This was done to make sure the student learn the importance of ethics so that they can aware when they got into real work environment that the ethical practice is very important. That's all for me.
All right. My next question is, what should an engineer do if they discover misconduct, corruption, or unsafe practices in a project?
So if an engineer discovers misconduct, corruption, or unsafe practices in a project, he should act responsibly, professionally, and according to ethical and legal requirements. Because the primary duty of an engineer is to protect public safety, health, and welfare. The engineer should first verify the facts carefully by reviewing technical data, the documents, the site conditions, or any evidence related to the issue. Because it is important to avoid making accusation without proper evidence. After confirming the concern, the engineer should first document the issue clearly, including dates, observations, test results, and any communications. Then, the engineer should report the matter through the proper internal channels, such as supervisors, project managers, related departments, or safety officer. He should then explain the technical, legal, and safety consequences of the misconduct or unsafe practice in a professional manner. And finally, the engineer should recommend corrective action that comply with engineering standards, laws, and ethical guidelines. Acting ethically in such situation demonstrates accountability, courage, and commitment to the responsibilities of the engineering profession. That's all from me.
Okay, thank you for my teammate Jazli. Okay, doctor, for the sixth question is, how can engineer student prepare themselves to become ethical professional in the future?
Okay, the engineering students can prepare themselves to become ethical professionals by developing strong values of honesty, responsibility, discipline, and respect for public safety from the beginning of their education. One of the important steps is to practice academic integrity. Then the student should avoid plagiarism, cheating, and falsifying laboratory or project data because these habits can negatively influence future professional behavior. The student need to be truthful in doing the assignment, writing the reports, and conduct research, because this help in build the integrity and accountability. The student also need to learn and understand professional codes of ethics that has been established by the organizations such as the Board of Engineers Malaysia. And by understanding these ethical principles, this can help students recognize their future responsibilities towards society, employers, clients, and the environment. In addition, the engineering student also can develop critical thinking and decision-making skills to handle ethical dilemmas responsibly. The student also can participate in teamwork and leadership activities that encourage communication, respect, and professionalism. The student can also gain practical experience through internships or industrial training while observing proper workplace ethics. They also can stay updated on engineering laws, safety standards, and sustainability issues. And finally, the student need to learn how to prioritize public welfare and safety above personal or financial interests. The students should also seek guidance from the lecturers, mentors, and experienced engineers who demonstrate good ethical behavior. The positive role models can strongly influence professionals' attitudes and conduct. As overall, becoming an ethical engineer is not only about technical knowledge, but also about building character, professionalism, and lifelong commitment to integrity and responsible decision making. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you for the good answer, Doctor. For my next question is, in your view, what are the consequences when engineers fail to follow ethical standards?
Okay, when the engineers fail to follow ethical standards, the consequences can be serious for individuals, organizations, the public, and the engineering profession itself. The most serious consequences is risk to public safety and human life, because poor engineering decisions, negligence, or dishonest practice can lead to structural failures, industrial accidents, environmental disasters, equipment malfunctions, or transportation incident. In many cases, unethical behavior can cause injuries, loss of life, and major property damage. Because these ethical failures can result in loss of public trust in engineers and engineering organization. It also can result in legal action, fines, or criminal charges against individuals or companies. And if the engineer have the professional license, it can be suspended by the authorities such as Board of Engineers Malaysia. Also, the ethical failures can result in financial losses due to project delays, repairs, lawsuits, or reputational damage. And the bad thing is it also can damage to teamwork, workplace culture, and professional reputation. Previously, many engineering disasters were linked to unethical decisions such as ignoring safety warnings, falsifying data, or prioritizing profit over safety. These all incidents show that technical competence alone is not enough. Ethical responsibility is equally important. So for the engineering students or young engineers, failing to follow ethical standards can also affect the academic records, the career opportunities, and professional credibility in the future. Overall, these ethical standards exist to protect society and ensure engineers perform their duties responsibly. And when these standards are ignored, the consequences can extend far beyond a single project and may affect entire communities and future generations. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you for your honest answer, Doctor. For the last three questions, my teammate Herina will ask you, Doctor.
Okay.
Okay, doctor. My question is about the how familiar are engineers, students, and professionals with the Board of Engineer Malaysia Code of the Conduct?
Yeah, the level of familiarity with the Board of Engineers Malaysia Code of Conduct generally varies between engineering students, graduate engineers, and experienced professionals. Because among engineering professionals, especially registered engineers, familiarity with the BEM Code of Conduct is usually quite high because it is directly related to professional registration, licensing, workplace responsibilities, and legal obligation. As for practicing engineers, they are expected to understand ethical requirements involving public safety, integrity, competence, confidentiality, and professional accountability. Meanwhile, for the engineering student, the awareness is more often basic and depends on their university curriculum and exposure to professional ethics course. Many universities in Malaysia introduce the BEM Code of Conduct through subjects related to the engineering ethics, professionalism, or industrial training. However, some students may only understand the general principle rather than the detailed regulations and real-world applications. On the other hand, the graduate engineers usually become more familiar with the with the code during their industrial training or internship, or during their preparation for professional engineer assessments, or during they want to take a membership or engagement with professional institution. Okay, because of this, there are still gaps in practical understanding. Some individuals may know the rules theoretically but have limited experience applying them in complex workplace situations involving client pressure, cost constraints, or safety concerns. Due to this, continuous education, ethic training, seminars, and professional development program are important to strengthen understanding and application of the BEM Code of Conduct through an engineer's career. As overall, most engineering professionals in Malaysia are aware of the importance of the BEM Code of Conduct, while the students are typically introduced to it gradually as part of their professional development. That's all for me.
Okay, doctor. The next question about the which part of the BEM code conduct do you think are most important for the younger engineers to understand and apply?
I think the most important part of the Board of Engineers Malaysia Code of Conduct for young engineers are the principles related to public safety, integrity, competence, and professional responsibility. For example, uh, one of the important part is prioritizing public safety and welfare. So the young engineers must understand that their first responsibility is to protect public health, safety, and the environment. So the technical decision should never compromise this. Okay, then they also must have a sense of honesty and integrity. So the young engineers should always provide accurate calculation, report, test result, and professional opinion. These young engineers must avoid falsifying data, hiding mistakes, or approving work outside actual condition. This integrity builds trust and credibility in their profession. The young engineers also must have sense of accountability and responsibility. They must take responsibility for their decision and action. These engineers should learn to document work properly, follow the standards and regulations, and admit errors honestly so the problem can be corrected early. Another important thing is the young engineers should avoid conflict of interest and corruption. By understanding professional independence, the engineer should not allow personal gain, give, or external pressure to influence technical judgment or ethical decision. And finally, the engineer also must adhere to confidentiality and professionalism, because engineers often handle sensitive technical or business information. The young engineers should respect confidentiality while still acting ethically if safety or legal concerns arise. All these principles are especially important early in a career because professional habits formed during this stage often shape long-term conduct and reputation. Strong ethical understanding helps young engineers become trustworthy professionals who contribute positively to society and the engineering industry. That's all for me.
Okay, doctor. Question is about what improvement can university or engineering institution need to strengthen awareness of engineering ethics among the students.
Okay, the universities and engineering institutions can strengthen awareness of engineering ethics among students by making ethics education more practical, continuous, and closely connected to real engineering situation rather than teaching it only as a theory. The important improvements include: first, by integrating ethics into technical subjects. So the ethics should not be limited to a single standalone course. So the universities can include ethical discussion in design projects, laboratory work, safety analysis, and case studies so the student learn that ethics is part of everyday engineering practice. So another way to make to strengthen the awareness of engineering ethics among students is by using real world case studies. So the student can analyze actual engineering failures, accidents, corruption cases, or safety incidents. Then it can help because it can help the student to understand the real consequences of unethical decision. It will come with discussion on how those situations would have been prevented. And this can improve the critical thinking and professional judgment of the student. So the university also can increase the industry exposure by conducting the internships activity, industrial training, and guest lectures from experienced engineers to expose the student to real workplace that face ethical challenges. So the industry professionals can share the practical example of handling safety concerns, the pressure from the client, or the professional responsibility. The university also can promote awareness of professional codes. So the university should encourage students to become familiar with the ethical standards and regulation established by the organizations such as Board of Engineers Malaysia. And also the university can always conduct workshop, seminars, and student activities related to professional ethics so that this can strengthen their understanding of awareness of professional codes. The university also should emphasize on the academic integrity so that the student can understand what is the bad conduct of doing plagiarism, cheating, and falsification of data. Because the academic honesty forms the foundation of the future professional ethics. And lastly, the university also can provide a mentorship and role models. So the student can be interact with the ethical lecturers, professional engineers, and mentors. So the student can sense the professionalism, responsibility that can be their reference in their future undertakings. And as overall, ethics education becomes more effective when students consistently see the connection between ethical behavior, public safety, professional reputation, and the real responsibility of engineers. That's all from me.
Okay, doctor. That's all for doctor. So this is our end of the interview. Thank you again for your time today. Your perspective on how ethical theory apply to a real world engineering and the role of institution like a BEM were incredibly insightful. It was very special to speaking with you, and your input was great asset to our project. We truly appreciate your time and your efforts, sir. Thank you for
Okay,
your interview, sir.
okay. Thank you, Harinat, Hitik Crush, Ali Famshar, and Jazri Jasman. So
You.
I
Thank you
hope
so
for your good luck for your future undertakings and be successful in the future. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right, doctor. Thank you so
Okay, thank
much.
you, doctor.
Thank you. Thank you.